Welcome into the Michigan Football Report. We've got a great show coming up for you on Josh Gattis' offense in year two with a new quarterback in Joe Milton. Then we're going to talk about the offensive line, what we're hearing on the first team O-line in, I guess it's year four, under Ed Warner. But before we do, I put on my Sunday best, my sports coat, to come to ask you guys to make sure you subscribe to the channel. You see the URL down there. We make it super simple, youtube.com/Michigan TV. But while you're here on YouTube, right below the video, there's that red button. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit it. You'll know every time we have a new video. If you don't want to watch them, cool, but it'll help us out and it'll allow us maybe to have you guys come on the show during the season via Zoom. So subscribe now. Awesome Michigan Football Report coming up for you. Let's go. Year two under Josh Gattis, and I think everybody left year one a little confused on what were they getting out of Gattis. The first half of the season, everyone assumed it was Jim Harbaugh's offense. Then at halftime of the Penn State game, things started to click. Michigan came out like gangbusters. We're throwing these crazy running patterns all over the place. Michigan was looking like a 2019 at that time college football offense, and Shea Patterson, put together a string of three straight 300 yards games to end the Big Ten season against Michigan State, Indiana, and Ohio State, you might forget about. And in two of those games, Michigan State and Indiana had 9 touchdown passes in 2 games, the only, in a 2-game stretch, the only Michigan quarterback ever to do that. Also the only Michigan quarterback ever to put together 3 straight 300-yard games. That's what we finished with in the Big Ten under Gattis. And the first half was Alabama was okay, but really nothing came of the second half of that game. Kind of same story against Ohio State. Those defenses figured out his offense. So there's no Middle Tennessee State. There's no Army on this schedule. And heck, there's Illinois, there's those teams, but there is no gimme games like Michigan had last year. And one game of the Army game wasn't even a gimme, right? They took Michigan to overtime. Michigan barely won that game. They needed a few miracle plays, including Army missing a field goal at the end of regulation. So I want to know from you guys in this game, thinking about this first game against Minnesota, how many points will Michigan's offense score against Minnesota October 24th. It's going to be a road game against a ranked team. I'm guessing Michigan will be in the same vicinity as Minnesota. They'll both be ranked between 14 and 17, 18, 19 in the country. That is the question for you guys. How many points will Michigan score against Minnesota with Joe Milton in his first game as Michigan's starting quarterback? Josh Gattis coming back for year 2. And as of now, Nico Collins. We'll see how that progresses over the next few weeks. We're going to dive more into the story a little bit more, show you last year's offense, how it really changed at the mid-season point. But before we do, remind you guys, if you saw yesterday, if you saw Monday, extending the promotion. We've had so many of you guys participate with BetUS, 125% deposit bonus, and if you sign up and deposit using that URL, don't go to the website directly. You got to use our URL, chatsports.com/bet. When you deposit, there'll be a little box below it. Just type in Go Blue, no spaces. You'll get credit for one of these. A Michigan Football Authentic, the top-of-the-line Jordan brand jersey. We'll send one right from our office to your house. All you got to do is email goblue@chatsports.com after you've signed up and made your deposit. We'll get the information we need from you. If you want the jersey or maybe a better value, $129 shoes, you can go verify them yourself. The Nike Pegasus, did I say that right? Pegasus. I said I got it right last time, Dylan. Now this one, Pegasus. The white that just released with the Michigan block M on it, Michigan on the tongue, and then the black version that's been out for a little bit while, have Michigan across there, block M on the other side. So you want the jersey, you want the Nike shoes, we're hooking you up. So get going with BetUS, 125% deposit bonus to bet with, and then a free pair of shoes or jerseys. This promo is going on until the end of September. So sign up and deposit, and then email goblue@chatsports.com and just say, James, got to sign up with BetUS. What do you need from me? We'll get some information, get your size, and get this shipped out to you in time for the Michigan versus Minnesota game at the absolute latest, obviously, hopefully, much before. Let's take a look at last year's offense. On the left side of your screen, we get the first 6 games. The right side of the screen, we got the last 6 games. And Penn State was part of that last 6 games. So in a lot of ways, most of these stats came in the last 5.5 games when they really started to turn it on. So points per game. 30 points per game. And remember, that's including Middle Tennessee State. That's including Army. There's some bad teams in there at the beginning of the year. 30 points a game the back half of the season against Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Those 4 of the 6 games in the back, they averaged 35.7 points a game, 416 yards per game, over 387. So quick math, it's about 30 extra yards per game. Passing, though, added 25 yards per game, 23.5 yards per game passing. And remember, that includes the monsoon of Notre Dame where Michigan threw the ball like 9 times and had like 100 yards passing or something like that, 300 some yards rushing. Rushing went down as passing went up. That's maybe to be expected. And then the turnovers is the really big difference. Michigan could not stop turning the ball over. And those 13 turnovers in the first 6 games, those could have been a heck of a lot more than they were because Michigan fumbled like 5 or 6 additional times and recovered them. So if they lose a few more fumbles, that could have been 15, 16, 17 turnovers to only 5 in the final 6 games. So which offense are we going to see for Josh Gattis? If it takes 3 or 4 games to figure this offense out for Joe Milton, to figure it out for, in a lot of ways, a whole new set of starting wide receivers. I mean, last year, Nico Collins, Tariq Black, Donovan Peoples-Jones, those were your starters. And all these names are known names to Michigan fans. We're talking about here Ronnie Bell, Giles Jackson, Mike Sainristil. But the guys that are backing them up, and maybe we'll see more 4 wide receiver sets, so maybe some of these guys talk about here won't be backups. For Cornelius Johnson had a touchdown against Michigan State, spotty play throughout the year, showed nice things, but he didn't get in a ton. A.J. Henning, Roman Wilson, true freshmen. Now, they've been on campus for a while, okay? So they've been on campus since January, early enrollees, so they've got a lot of time around the Michigan coaching staff, learning the offense, around their teammates, but here's some good things about Roman Wilson. And don't complain to me, by the way, about wide receiver 1 versus 2 versus slot. We don't know what Josh Gattis is going to roll out there. This is kind of a standard offense, wide receiver 1, 2 slot. So sure, Giles Jackson going to be in the slot more often. I was kind of ranking him. Guy who's the first option, guy who's the second option, guy who's maybe the third option or only gets things underneath. So it's Bell, it's Giles Jackson, and it's Mike Sainristil, I think, are your starters. Now, some people are saying Roman Wilson has had a great summer. As really impressed when they've been having practices in just shoulder pads and helmets recently. Maybe he'll get more steps, reps. Maybe they'll use 4 receivers more often. But I'll ask you guys this question. Compare those wide receivers, this group of wide receivers, all who were on the team last year, by the way, against last year's wide receivers. So the 2019 with DPJ, Nico Collins, and Tariq Black. Want to know what you guys think? Go down in the comments. I'm going to pin this comment down there for you. The 2019 wide receivers, type 2019. If you think it is the 2020 wide receivers, go ahead and type 2020. This might shock you. But even though they lose Nico, DPJ, Tariq Black, who's actually had a pretty good game in his opener for Texas, I'm typing 2020, not because they're more talented, not because they'll score more touchdowns in the NFL, but I think probably better attitudes, and I think they actually fit the body type and playing style that work in Josh Gattis' offense. So go down and let me know what you guys think in the comments. And while you're scrolling down, you're going to scroll right past the subscribe button. Click that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Michigan Football Report. I'm going to keep asking you every show because we took a few months off, focusing on different shows here at Chat Sports, growing those with the uncertainty of the Big Ten season. But now we're back. When did you guys start subscribing? Because I can't go into our company lunches having people going like, oh, there's Michigan Football Report, only 7,000 subscribers, and Cowboys is 70,000. Okay, so just hit the subscribe button. You're a Michigan fan. You will not regret it. We bring you more news, information, and awesome shows. We're not sitting there on our iPhones trying to make videos in our mom's basement like the competition. So coming up, I'm going to talk a little bit about Michigan's starting offensive line. So before we kind of take a look at that depth chart, what do we know about this offensive line? We know that Ryan Hayes got a couple starts last year when Little John Runyon was hurt in the beginning of the year. We know that Andrew Stuber was rumored to have beaten out Jalen Mayfield, who was going to go pro and be a first-round pick after one season, apparently, but he's popping back in. We know Stuber was good enough to be a starter last year. So in Hayes and Stuber, you've got potential guys who were starter quality last year. Jalen Mayfield is back, and here's the depth chart that I think is pretty universally, agreed upon until we get to camp. So this is potentially going to change once they get into pads, potentially going to change once certain things happen in the running and the passing game. You never know if Michigan feels more comfortable with the running game. Maybe they swap out a player here or there that's better in run blocking. If they feel better at passing, maybe they feel better about a certain guy. But these are the five that I think they're going to go with, or at least going to enter fall camp as your 5 starters. And someone's saying, James, who's Vest Stardust in the middle? Well, he's a 5th-year player. Not a lot of people have heard of him, but Jalen Mayfield is going to start is going to continue to be at the right tackle position. It's where he feels more comfortable. You're going to have Stuber, who was a tackle. He's going to move inside. And Hayes, who actually started a couple games at left tackle for Little John Runyon last year, he is going to remain your starting left tackle. He's going to be your starting left tackle, where he got a couple of games as a starter last year. Name in the middle there on the left side, left guard Chuck Filiaga. Big-time recruit, top 50, top 60 overall recruit out of the state of Texas in the 2018 class, 2017. I'm missing the information. I think it's 18, 19, 20. I think it's actually the 2017 class. He's a redshirt junior at this point. He's finally going to get a crack at the starting position. So three like known names, Hayes, Stuber, and Mayfield there. Most people who follow recruiting are going to know Filiaga. And Vestardis is a name that most won't know, but has reportedly had a really nice offseason and has positioned himself over some of Michigan's younger players, those redshirt freshmen, redshirt sophomores from the last few recruiting classes, as your starting center. So keep an eye out for this as things potentially change when they get into camp. But as of right now, this is your Michigan football starting offensive line. That's our show for today. While you're here, guys, hit me on Twitter at James Yoder. It's one of the toughest Twitter handles to remember. At James Yoder. I'm just kidding. It's super easy. It's just my first and last name. And while you're here too, here's the button. Click this button here. Subscribe to the Michigan Football Report. I told you the reasons why already. Just click it. No harm, no foul. And if you got nothing better to do right now, you want more Michigan football information, I got Tuesday's video for you right here. I got Monday's video for you right here. Go Blue.